Hey everyone. Hey. Here we are. Welcome. Welcome to my computer desktop. I'm going to move this out of the way here. I've tried to set this up in a way that you can come with me on a journey of discovery, so to speak. I'm looking at UFOs. I spend every single day checking out some of these UFO captures and reading about them. A long time ago, I thought, hey, why not try and show people these videos? So I tried adding music in, I tried throwing in different splash screens, I tried advertising myself. Holy jeez, is it really hard to penetrate the UFO community? Not only that, like, who am I, right? Like, I'm just some nobody who spent a lifetime looking into the sky and just trying to discern what these objects are and watching them and literally watching every single piece of evidence, every shred of evidence visually that's coming out there. And that's just everyone else as well out there. The thing is, though, who do we have to talk to about this? Most people don't even want to talk about this kind of stuff. It's still considered to be faux pas, so to speak. It's made a mockery in the news. Only in the recent last year or so, the government itself has said, hey, you know what? We admit the existence of these objects. It's just so much different rabbit holes that you can find yourself down. And at the end of the day, a lot of people have their own agendas and their own narratives and their own interests in trying to make a living from this. I'd love to make a living from this. If I could spend all day just showing you UFO videos and talking about it and making a living from it, wow, how amazing would that, you know what I mean? Like, that would be my personal dream job, with the exception of being able to also go out and investigate ghosts and UFOs myself. I don't have the capability of doing that, and I never really have had the capability of doing that. I started actually just last year going out and doing more sky watching, but primarily most of the stuff that I would do was more interested in the paranormal experiences. I've actually got a lot of paranormal experiences myself. I've had my dead uncle reach out to me. Or maybe I should start sharing some of my ghost stories and stuff with you guys as well, because my ghost stories have kind of shaped my whole life surrounding the fact that we have life after death. We exist past our physical bodies. And I'll tell you the reason why I say this with absolute certainty. I had this uncle that I didn't really know, and he's always around whenever we go to visit my grandparents. And the extent of my conversation with my uncle was like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you doing?" And then that was it. I, like most kids, I would retreat and watch television and watch TV shows that I was interested in, rather than sitting around and listening to the adults speak. I mean, I wasn't really, I wasn't an adult then. And I think a lot of kids, even my daughter at this point, does the same thing. But when I turned like 18, 19, my aunts were helping my uncle move from one apartment building to another, and I decided I would go help out. And so I skipped work that day, and I went and helped my aunts and my uncle move into this new apartment building. And a couple weeks later, he called my mom asking for help with the internet. Well, my mom really doesn't know anything about the internet, so I ended up going over there to hang out with him. And I helped him with his internet. I got his internet back, and when we were sitting down and starting to get to know each other, I just, it was kind of like one of those moments where you're like, I don't know you, and you're my family, and I'd really like to kind of know who you are as a person and where you've been in your life and what your life experience have been, and what's led you up to this moment in time that we're at right now. And so we sat down and we talked about the gambit of life, God, the Bible. We talked about religion. We talked about his experiences in the army. We talked about his experiences working as a janitor for the school board. We just spoke at length about his relationship with his father and mother growing up from a different perspective, right? Because, we're definitely in educated by our parents about what their relationship was, but oftentimes we don't often get too much communication from our aunts and uncles from their perspective. Anyway, long story short, my uncle says to me that while we're sharing my grandfather's bottle of Jaeger, that he still had some shots left, so we downed those. That's my grandfather's bottle, and my grandfather passed away. We got in a story where he's telling me about my grandfather actually sitting or operating inside the car, sitting right beside him on the way home from the hospital after he had died. And he's telling me that my grandfather was scared, and he was saying how dark it was, and how scared he was, and that no light was coming and no family members were coming. And my uncle, I just remember the story of my uncle just saying to my grandfather, you just have to wait, just keep waiting, they'll eventually come. My uncle goes on to describe that in his experience, after 5 days of my grandfather coming and visiting him and telling him about these things, my grandfather finally cut in and said one night, "Oh, there they are," and took off. And he'd never heard from him or seen him again in an like in the ghostly sense. And I thought that was really cool. And I've had definitely ghostly experiences. I've even had a voice come in my head and tell me about. I'll tell you that story, you guys, some other day. Maybe even today. I might as well tell it today because I'm alluding to it and talking about it. But anyway, I had a lot of stuff happen to me personally, and that experience blew my mind away. So I said to him, I said, listen, I said, because I was living my life pretty fast and furious at the time. I wasn't actually expecting to make it past 30 years old the way I was living at the time. I definitely live a better life, a more proper life, a more attuned life for my body and mind and those around me. But at any rate, I said to him, let's make a death pact. If you die before I die, I want you to come and show me signs. If I die before you die, I'm going to come and show you signs. So this one night I got woken up, and each one of these experiences happened at between 2 and 3 in the morning. And the first time I woke up to it sounding like your fingers snapping. Like, it literally just woke me up out of a dead sleep. And I kind of sat up. I was sleeping and living in the basement of my parents' house at the time. And I sat up, and I was just looking around, and I didn't hear anything else. So I just went back to sleep. The next night it sounded like a pop can. Like, I can't make the sound right now, but think of a pop can crunching and or decompressing. I woke up to that sound, and I just kind of looked around and said, I know you're here. I know you're trying to make contact with me, but I'm not understanding what you're saying. Can you try and get on my frequency and my vibration to be able to communicate with me? And nothing happened, so I went back to sleep. The next night, I woke up to a hand being slapped in the middle of my back. It literally felt like someone open palm slapped me in the middle of my back at 3 in the morning. And I woke up and I was just blown away. Like, what the heck is that? You know what I mean? You start getting a little scared. Like, when I went back to bed, you can guarantee I pulled the covers up over my head. Still no contact, but in the morning I woke up to some bang, bang, bang at the door. And lo and behold, it was a police officer, and my uncle was discovered dead in the apartment a few days earlier. And he'd been dead for about 3 days, 4 days. How crazy is that happened and took place? I never had any other communication with him, but those moments preceding up to that moment of finding out when he died really, really blew me away. I mentioned earlier I had a voice of a girl's voice come into my head. I mean, we all have that voice in our head. That voice is constantly telling us we're not good enough or blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to get into the psychosemantics of things, but if you want to get into the psychosemantics of things, and if you're in the thralls of depression and negative mindset, definitely reach out. I'd be more than happy to console you and educate you and tell you about some books that have helped me get beyond that mentality. But at any rate, my friends and I are traveling. We're going to a beachfront. We're in our early 20s, and we're just going to have a good old time. It's like the Jersey Shore of Canada, at least in Ontario anyways. And this place is a magical place. I remember going there as a kid all the time. But in this circumstance, I'm going there as a young man or as an adult with two of my closest friends at the time. And we just gotten a new car. My buddy got a new car. It was a Mercury Sable, and although it was in the 90s and it had all the power windows and the leather seats and everything like that, it was a situation where we were driving, and I remember sitting in the back, and I was the only one that had ever been there, and We found ourselves 2 hours away from the actual location of where we need to be. So it literally took us almost 6 hours to get there. And on the way there, once we got lost and we found our way back again, my buddy ends up missing the cutoff to get to this is there's only one cutoff to go on. So he misses this cutoff, and instead of pulling off the shoulder, somehow, some way, he goes and puts the car while we're going about 100 kilometers an hour. He puts the car into neutral, and then from neutral, it didn't actually stick. It went right into reverse. So we're going 100 and something on the highway, and he goes from going in drive and puts it right into reverse. I can't even tell you the damage that it literally toasted the engine for the most part. We drove this car as far as we could until it finally conked out on the side of the road. There's only one strip, as far as I know, into getting into this little township. So here we are, stuck on the side of the road. I don't know anyone in the city. Cell phone technology, there weren't smartphones at the time. You couldn't use a map. You couldn't use your smartphone to actually call, like search up the yellow pages and call someone. You actually had to use a phone book. So we decided what we would do is we go to the closest house, which happened to be in the forest. It was like a forest walkway, and it said no trespassing on the entranceway as we're walking in. And we get to this house, and this guy meets us on the porch of what looked to me like a cabin of sorts. And the guy is immediately on the offensive, and he thinks we're there to do some harm. You know how it's like we came to borrow a cup of sugar. We're there to ask this guy for a phone book. It starts out like any horror story. Sir, we're stuck on the side of the road. We need to borrow a phone book. Can we use your phone to call a tow truck? That in itself is a scary thing, especially nowadays, and even back then. So this guy kicks us off the property and tells us to take a hike, and we do. I don't want any problems. When you're on private property, you can get shot. I'm not looking to get killed or anything like that, looking for a phone book. So then we go back to the car. The three of us are standing there pacing around, wondering what the heck we're going to do. My cell phone at the time did have a connection, so I gave it to the guy who owned the car so that he could call his dad and tell his dad what happened. Ask his dad to use the internet to try and find a local tow truck company in the region to come and pick us up and help us out. Meanwhile, my other friend and I, we noticed that there's a house really far down the street, the one stretch street, and this is a farmhouse, so it was set off the main road quite a ways. And we went there in hopes to find a phone book. I just remember, this is rural country, and if you know anything about rural country, you'll know that everyone's mailboxes are at the end of their driveway. Their driveways are wicked long, and the mailboxes usually have the flag, the red flag that's up and down. Up means there's something in it, down means there's nothing in it. So while we were passing it, it was down. And I remember getting to the house and peeking into the window of the house, and I remember seeing it was very strange. The kitchen counter had a layer of dust on it that had not been disturbed, but the cups had crumbs on it, and it almost looked as though they're having like a tea party, an afternoon tea party, and all of a sudden everyone left without even picking anything up. They just literally vanished. That's what I remember while I was peering into the doorway knocking. My buddy says while we're waiting and I'm knocking continuously, he says, I'm going to go around to the barn and check it out and see if anyone's in there. So I said, okay, well, I'll just stay here. So I continue to knock. My friend's gone for no longer than a minute and a half before he comes running back around the house telling me, come on, let's go. I don't feel comfortable here. And I asked him why, and he said he saw a bunch of like slaughter tools in the barn and got some weird feelings. So I just, what are you gonna do, right? So I'm walking, I'm feeling defeated. We're at the end of the driveway now, and I'm just freaking out in my mind. I'm just thinking, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We are so screwed right now. Nobody's gonna pull over to the side of the road for us three looking hood rat looking guys. And all of a sudden in my head, a lady's voice says, check the mailbox. And I've had voices come in my head before that are my own, that are a constant battle, but this was something new. So this is something I never experienced before in my life. But this voice. I explained to my friend, I said, listen, I just had a voice, a lady's voice come in my head and say, check the mailbox. And I'm rationalizing it out loud with him. And I said, look at the mailbox. Like, the mailbox flag is down. There's nothing in there. My buddy says, you know what, we should check the mailbox anyways. I mean, what the heck? You know, you never get a voice message like that. Like, this could be a one in a million circumstance. So we go and open up the mailbox, and lo and behold, you guys, I swear to God, there's a freaking Yellow Pages. There's a phone book, brand new, in its plastic wrapping, and that those are a couple of my paranormal experiences, and there's many more that I've had. I just don't typically share them too often with people because. It's like UFOs. Everyone has their own opinion of those things. I don't want to tell you what you should believe or what you should think. I can only share my experiences and let you know the things that have shaped me and shaped my mind and my perspective about, the universe and life after death and that kind of stuff. Excuse me. I'm not even going to cut this out. I'm just going to give you full raw UFOs worldwide. All me, just all me. So, you know what? I've been yabbering for about 16 minutes here as we've been looking at this search database screen. Let's get into looking at some UFOs and check out the latest UFO uploads today. There's not many of them, but we'll check it out. So, the first circumstance took place in Taylorville, Illinois, in the United States. This took place on February 24th, 2021, approximately 4:45 p.m. In the short description here, they're seen in northeast moving northwest. When we click on here where it says long description, what we're going to find is we're going to find the eyewitness statement. This person says, white pill-shaped object observed northeast of town moving northwest, high in the air, no sound, moving seemingly slow. When I zoomed the pic in, it looks like two white circles conjoined together with black mist around it. Both myself and an anonymous person with me seen it. I posted it online, and someone else said from the town they also seen it. That's pretty cool when you have yourself, another witness, and someone else in the city actually seeing the object. Here's the actual evidence that's submitted. So we're going to click on this and check it out. That's cool. Look at that. It's. I mean, you can't make out much, but there's something there, isn't there? Let's go into the studio and pull this object in this. Oh, not the screen recording. I should probably save that file first. Save the file. This is Mufon case number 113823. I'm giving away my trade secrets here on how you get information and what is what, but that's okay. I think it's more important people know and see the true goods and how it all kind of comes together rather than just packaging all these things and just commenting in comments saying, what are your thoughts, right? I appreciate some good candor. I can talk forever about this kind of stuff, so that's what I'm gonna do. Let's do that together, and let's try and do it this way. I like doing it this way better. I can just jibber jabber. I can just show you things. We can deal with things real time as they come. So now that we're in the studio here, look at here, you can see a little bit more of the studio this time. I'm gonna enlarge this. Now this is at 400 times the size. This is at 1200 times the size. Let's look at it 1200 times the size. And I'm just going to change some of the exposure around to get a little bit more detail or a different, I guess, perspective of this object. Here's the negative version of it. Not much coming out of the negative version, is there? So this is like live television. Like, you can mess up, you can say all kinds of crazy things. You don't want to, but I mean, ultimately the possibility's there. Pretty interesting stuff, this black stuff around it, these two little orb squiggly things. Normally a plane would show like a little tic tac here, a little tic tac here maybe, Usually you would see some kind of contrail or chemtrail happening back here, and we don't see that. It's not always the case, you guys, but often is the case when it comes down to airplanes in the sky. But still, pretty cool. Thanks so much for capturing that and submitting it through Mufon and letting us check it out. This next capture comes from Anchorage, Alaska, and it took place in 2017, November the 18th, around 11 a.m. Short description says planes don't fly like that. Not to mention those mountains are easily 20 minutes away from where I shot the video. Eyewitness statement says whatever that was is much too large to be a passenger jet or a cargo carrier. That is the Chugach mountain range. And if I pronounce things wrong, I'm sorry. I'm just not the greatest at the English language, even though it's my main language. Those mountains are 20 minutes away and blah, blah, blah. It would take at least a day and a half to climb the peaks. Whatever it was, it had to have been enormous. Wow, now I'm kind of, my interest is peaked. Let's check it out.
Look at that, Pop.
Huh.
Look at that, Dad. What is that?
Why is this guy so angry at his dad right now? I wonder if his dad's there with him. You can hear a plane or cars in the background. But this is a weird swirl, isn't it? Doesn't look like an object moving, does it? Is that a cloud?
What is that, Pop?
Wow, strange.
I'm gonna call. I don't know if I call you, I'm gonna miss it. What the fuck is that?
Look at that thing. I think that was a bird flying by there. Huh, just going right behind the mountain range there. And that's the video. I don't know if we should analyze that one, you guys. I don't think we're going to get much detail out of that one. Save video. Wow. I don't know what this is. This could be many different things, but it certainly is strange. And it is falling behind the mountain. By the end of this video, you can see it's gone behind the mountain there. That could just be some kind of cloud, right? Let's see here. Is it done downloading yet? Yeah. I'm just going to remove and mute the audio so we don't hear it while we're scrubbing through this file. Weird. It's weird how this is lighter than that part, right? Like, is there an object here that we don't see, and this is the plume coming off of it? Oh yeah, moving the camera. Hey, it's got to be somewhere. No, it's still moving the camera. Oh, maybe it's over here. Yeah, there. Yeah, see, that can happen when you're looking at things zoomed in. Holy jeez, man. You could be looking in the wrong spot for a long time. Oh, look at that. It's almost like something's inside of that. Makes me wish this person had like a telescope looking thing, you know? telescope attached to this would have gotten us a little bit more detail, possibly. Strange. I'm just gonna scrub through this a little bit more. From start to finish, this is only like a minute long or whatever, right? Isn't it? Less than a minute long. I don't know, y'all. Big giant white snake in the sky. Very strange. What do you guys think of that one? I have no idea. I don't even know what to say. All right. Ooh, look at this one. This one comes from Roswell, New Mexico. It took place on February 22nd, 2021, 6 o'clock p.m. Two objects flying appear reflective and on fire, glowing silver and pink. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean, this is it. This is what we have here for these two objects. So these two objects just, I mean, you can see the sun setting here, right? Let's have a look at these objects. All right, so there's the sunset gorge, right? And here are the objects in the sky. We can see that the sun is I don't know where the sun is. You know, it's hard to tell. You don't see that there's a big orange ball in the sky here, but I'm going to have to assume that the actual sun is behind them. And the reason why I'm saying the sun is behind them is because this might actually be adding, or the sun might be adding to the brightness of these objects here. When you look at enough of these objects, you start to try and discern, or if you put out enough videos out there claiming things to be UFOs, you're eventually going to run into a bunch of people who are going to claim it to be something else, right? And that's kind of what you need to do when you're adding to your repertoire of things that you can discern objects to being. The only way to do that is by being told that something else is something else, and then looking at it more subjectively, not getting pissed off that someone disagrees with you. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with somebody, but there is a polite way to do it and a not so polite way to do it. So, I mean, you can't really see much out of this object here, and I don't think we're going to see too much out of this object either, but this object does appear to look more saucer in shape than anything, right? Maybe this is a saucer. Maybe I'm just full of baloney, you know? It does appear to have something in the middle of it when we turn down the contrast of it. Ooh, strange. And maybe it isn't a reflection after all. Maybe it is a little something something, you know? Look at this thing here. It's weird the way it looks. And that is just with the contrast turned down. Not much more than that. Yeah, maybe that is something more. Weird. Cool. And over New Mexico, nevertheless, right? This next case comes from Arvada, Columbia, no, Arvada, Colorado, in the United States. It took place on February 23rd, 2021, at approximately 6:25 p.m. Pretty grainy, y'all. Oh, look at that.
I don't know if you can see this, but there's a bunch of lights
Yeah, bro, we can
out
see
over
it.
DIA.
Yo, so some of these lights are lens
They're
flares.
not airplanes.
See them?
I got this guy's lights.
But this guy, wow, look at that. I've seen a bunch of captures like that. I've had people send me captures like that as well. To be honest with you, I've seen lots of captures where we've got a lot of lights in the sky. I've seen them reported and sent to me from Mexico, and I've seen them reported and sent to me from Louisiana. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things happening out that way.
I cannot. There's four of them and one on the right.
Yo, that's
They're
cool.
not moving,
Nope, stationary.
and that is not. Airplanes come out and sometimes they are right at you, but those are flashing.
Wow. Pretty cool. Wonder where these things are going. A lot of people have been saying lately on the post that these things are from underground. I don't have the answers. I'm not going to claim to have the answers. I definitely know that there's lots of theories about them, you know. I won't have any statement on seriously what they are until they're sitting down eating dinner, breaking bread. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna review that one further in the video. The reason being is because, man, the quality already is garbage on this, right? And like, if I just try and improve garbage, it's just gonna look like more garbage. But I do appreciate these captures. I mean, the detail isn't the greatest, but it's still something that's happening and something that we should all be taking note and paying attention to. This next circumstance comes from St. Petersburg, Florida, in the United States. It took place on November the 2nd, 2020, at approximately 8:30 a.m. The short witness describes a point of light appearing, flew down, another point of light appeared, it joined it, and they took off like jumping to light speed. That sounds pretty cool too. Let's check out what the eyewitness statement says as far as the long description. Ooh, boy, that's a lot of reading for me, and it's from Luke Skywalker. Well, I don't know now, but let's continue on. On the night before the election, I was filming the moon and doing the little squishy thing you do with your finger and thumb. Look like they squish a few far away, and silly comments too. I know what you're talking about. That's an old skit actually by Kids in the Hall. It's I squish your head and I kill you. I kill you. I squish your head. Anyway, well, after I pulled my hand down, a point of light like a star appeared in front of a tree behind my neighbor's house across the street. This star zoomed down. Another star-like point of light appeared zoomed toward the first one. They merged and zipped off like they made the jump to light speed. And I'd never believed it with my own eyes had I not been recording it. I uploaded it to YouTube but took it down because the quality conversion wasn't good. But on my phone, if you watch a video, you can plain as day see it. I'm going to try and copy it to my computer to make a better copy and blah 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 blah. I've also seen a fireball in the northeastern sky about 2 weeks ago, exact date unknown, like a flaming circle that moved a bit in the sky and then just vanished into thin air. No sound, no nothing. And I had one other sighting. It was my first, was several years ago, exact date unknown. It was probably around 2016, I believe, on the Pinellas Trail over nearby Bay Pines. And I've actually shown other UFO videos from Bay Pines, I believe. The name sounds familiar. I saw what looked like a butterfly wing with the color of a hologram or aurora borealis. It flew south for about 3 seconds and vanished instantly after moving at an incredible rate of speed across the sky. I thought at first it was one of the spotlight projectors that beam bright lights to advertise stores, but there was not a cloud in the sky. And there's no way anything could have been projected as it was a clear, cloudless sky, and it was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No light would be that powerful to project an image on a cloud, and there were no clouds. You definitely made your point there. No clouds, no lights, especially in the daytime, right? Like, you're not going to see many lights. No. Especially those lights that you're referring to. That was the day I was convinced we're not alone in the universe and we're probably being watched by some super advanced life form that looks at us like animals in a zoo. That's quite possible. I mean, honestly, we do it ourselves. We're sending probes out to other places to do the same thing. Earth, us, zoo, they keep under watch. Proofread, y'all, proofread. But yeah, in St. Petersburg, Florida, keep the eyes peeled day and night to the sky. There are strange things in the sky both day and night. I've never seen aircraft move that quick with the kind of color scheme shaped like a butterfly wing and then just vanish into thin air. Hopefully the video you'll see it look above the house in the video, not my hand holding the moon. If it doesn't, something. Alright. Let's get into the video here. Thanks, Luke Skywalker, for your submission.
So, pretty badass moon up tonight.
Oh, a sideways record. Here's his finger pointing. There's lens flares happening here.
Right moon.
What was that? What was that, dude? I got that on tape. What was that? Something just shot across, dude. What was that, man? What the fuck? Yeah, bro. It's like this,
I squish your head. I kill you. I don't think this guy has any idea who Kids in the Hall are. Oh, man. Sometimes these videos, you guys, right? Like, you just never know what you're going to pop up. This one time I was going through this, and this would not work out so well in this video here if this happened, but someone out of New York was wearing a reptilian mask, and they literally uploaded a porno of a reptilian having his way with an Earth lady. Yeah, I kid you not. Okay, I think this is the video. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to spin this one. There's no way in heck we want to watch this sideways view. Okay, and then let's play around with this. Bump up the contrast. A little bit on the brightness. Nah, not much. Okay, so what I can see is that this is more than likely the moon. This right here is a street lamp, and it probably comes down. And these objects might actually be reflections of light, like a lens flare being caused by these two things.
The night before the election, there's a moon right there. It's right moon.
So this one's funny. So I have a lot of people hating on me for calling TMZ out for posting a lens flare as their UFO. But this right here is proof of lens flares and how tricky they can be, but how they can also fool us into thinking they're UFOs. So I'm just going to go through. I've removed the audio so we can see. So right here, you can see the headlights of a vehicle coming through. Do you see those headlights there? Well, sure enough, these headlights are actually sending a beam of light to the actual video camera or the camera, and it's reflecting and it's being beamed over here. So it's being beamed this way and then being beamed out this way. And we can already see the two headlights here. And this is what this dude is seeing and tripping about, right? I mean, honestly, if you didn't know about lens flares, and unfortunately not a lot of people know about them, right? Here it is. Boom, 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 boom. Lights. Boom, 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 boom. And it's gone. And the reason it's disappearing is because he's now moving the camera, panning to try and see what this object is. But if he was actually looking outside of the realm of the camera, he wouldn't have noticed that flare happening because it's not present in actual time. It's only happening in the reflection of the camera itself. A lot of people like to disagree with me and say, who are you? You're not an expert. But I assure you that I am much more of an expert that someone's going to tell you that this is a UFO. Clearly not a UFO. And this is what lens flares can do to people. They're not always blue or green or teal. They're different colors, y'all. Yep. So that's it. I'm gonna stop harping about lens flares, but they honestly fool a lot of people. And I guess that's the last one we have here to show you today. And I thank you so much for coming and watching this video, checking it out. Hopefully you like the couple stories that I shared with you as well. Like, that's true blue me through and through. I'm not going to edit this in any way, shape, or form. I'm literally giving you the most raw form of investigation or looking at these objects, reading all the information off. And I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you've had a great day hanging out with me. I'm going to cut it off here, cut it short. It's February 25th, 2018. Y'all have a good day. Please know I love you. I hope you're having a great time with me. And if you're not, well, guess what? The choice is yours. You can always get to step into someone else. You know what I'm saying? You're not locked down with me. But if you are going to stay locked down with me, I'm going to give you nothing but love. I'm going to teach you everything that I know, and I'm going to start sharing all my experiences on life and what I'm thinking about. And I hope that you resonate with me, and hopefully you feel confident and comfortable enough to actually go ahead and comment to me back, because I'm reading these things. Y'all can even go ahead and message me if you want to and have a conversation about this kind of stuff. When I got some free time, you know I'm going to say what's up, and you know I'm going to get back to you. That's the kindness that I try to have for every single person out there, because not everyone out there has that kind of kindness inside of them, but I do. I'm a positive, loving person and a firm believer that you got to treat people the way that you want to be treated, and that's what I'm going to do regardless of anything else. Anyway, that's enough from me. Y'all have a good day. God bless.